right. Welcome back to CEO Money. I'm Tommy Havey. And our next guest on the show is David Rechberger. He's the CEO, CTO of BoostBox H2. He's an experienced executive with hands-on in engineering skills. Welcome to the show, David.
Thank you very much, Tommy.
Yes. So, David, I got to tell you, there's very few guys on the C-suite level with real engineering and physics experience. Tell me about your kind of history and how you got here.
Sure. So I am degreed in engineering and physics, as you mentioned, and went to Clarkson University in upstate New York. I became passionate about the fuel industries when you could see that the technologies were moving relatively slowly on creating efficiency in the transportation industries. And so I moved to Boulder, Colorado back in 1991, and over the course of a number of years, built up a company that we're now bringing to market called BoostBox H2.
So let me ask you, back then, people weren't quite thinking out of the box. They were going, look, I'm putting gas in my car or gas in my truck, and this is how this thing's going to run. It's ran this way for 100 years. It's going to keep running this way. How did you overcome kind of that skepticism, people questioning, your theories?
Well, I think over the course of time, a lot of people in industries have started looking at what do we do to create more efficiency in everything that we do. And transportation and fuel savings and emissions reductions are just one of those things. And so when you start looking at the Department of Transportation statistics, 95% of all heavy-duty trucks are diesel engines, and 90% of all of our freight moved across the country is done with diesel. And these companies are struggling because of the razor-thin margins, with fuel being their largest expenditures. And so when we started looking at various technologies to address that type of a challenge, myself and my other co-company owners really settled into this fuel cell technology as a solid, clean alternative to what had been done in the industry before, which is really kind of related to efficiencies and aerodynamics and not really addressing the heart of fuel savings and emissions, which is the combustion process itself.
Was that why you moved to Colorado? Did that have some bearing on it?
It wasn't why I moved to Colorado, honestly, but I think Colorado's a beautiful state, and it has a lot of sunshine and a lot of very, very smart people, and so it's a good place to have an entrepreneurial spirit and grow your companies, and a lot of good technical resources available in the area.
Well, I don't think people really get a grasp on how large the trucking industry is, how much freight is actually moved all over the planet, and how you're right, those margins are razor sharp, and these guys are fighting to save every penny. And if you can figure out a solution, and just not working the other margins, but when you're talking about figuring out a way that gas savings, those numbers, I see now how sexy this development is that you've created, and let's kind of start talking a little bit about that technology of the BoostBox.
Sure, and to your point, when you talk about fuel savings and maintenance savings, those numbers drop right to the bottom line in the trucking industry. And today there's about 8.5 million heavy-duty trucks on the road they're struggling through these. And so our technology uses distilled water, and we split the hydrogen and oxygen through our fuel cell. And when we feed that into the air intake of the engine, it actually accelerates and catalyzes the combustion of the available diesel fuel. So when you think about an engine, everything that you see coming out of a diesel truck, that smoke and stink, that's unburnt or unused fuel. And it's just a waste putting it out the tailpipe.
Sure.
So with the addition of the hydrogen, we're able to more completely burn the available fuel and convert that, chemical energy to mechanical energy into the wheels instead of out the tailpipe.
Well, it only makes sense.
It's a great savings.
No, truly, and it only makes sense. And like you said, the profit goes straight to the bottom line because they're already spending it. Now, how far out are we before you can actually just create a hydrogen engine?
Well, the creation that exists today, honestly, there's companies.
I think Toyota has one. Actually,
Toyota has one, and there's GM has one. But when you look at the challenges with just a hydrogen engine, storing and compressing hydrogen is a very challenging aspect of the fueling stations. And by being able to use a product like ours that provides better fuel savings and better emissions using minute amounts of hydrogen that are never stored on the vehicle, so you don't have a dangerous situation, we don't have the challenge that a hydrogen vehicle has with fueling stations or distance between where you can, where the drivers can fill up and the maintenance of the vehicles. And so we're not changing any of those preferences of the vehicles that are on the road today.
Is the BoostBox available today?
The BoostBox is available today, and we have some manufacturing partners that we can ramp this to very large scale, plus our own internal manufacturing out of Laramie, Wyoming. We are moving into the market aggressively, and I will say that the BoostBox doesn't just have an impact on the transportation industry. When you look at other diesel engines such as stationary power or marine or agriculture or construction or basically anything that's running engines, we can have that same type of impact across those industries. So the market is potentially massive.
No question. You just have to get the word out.
Absolutely. We've spent our time refining and perfecting this product over the course of a number of years. We've tested it through all of the Society of Automotive Engineering for durability and reliability, just like Freightliner and Caterpillar and Cummins does.
So tell me, what's the next step? What are you looking for? How can we help you get on our soapbox?
Obviously, the next step for us is getting the word out, making sure people are aware that BoostBox is ready for the market, that we're launching and can have these benefits of 10% fuel savings and 60, 70, 80% reduction in emissions.
How do they find you?
They can find us at www.boostboxh2.com.
So any of the
There's
big
also
trucking
a phone number there that we can you can call up and we can talk in details.
So any of the big trucking companies, if you own your own trucks, you got to get a BoostBox on these trucks. You're going to save money, save 10% on your gas. It would be a phenomenal savings. We've been talking to David Rechberger, CEO, CTO, BoostBox H2. It's a fantastic product. Congratulations on that. I can't wait to hear more about it over the next year.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity to talk to you and your audience.
You got it, David. Thanks so much.